to start off with a circle. And you want to make this about the size of like an apple, maybe an orange, or feeling really inspired, a grapefruit. And you want to use very light lines as you build up this circle. Just go ahead and take as many circles as you need. Try to use your shoulder more so than your wrist or your elbow. And this does not have to be a perfect circle. Like I said, it's mostly a guideline. Now, the next step we're going to do is going to be a line to cut our circle right in half, straight down the middle. And then we are going to do a line coming up right about from the lower third of our circle, straight across. Once we are done, we'll have Kylo Ren's lightsaber and a potato. But we are going to start to work on Webby's features, and like most of our ducks, we're going to start off with her bill. So Webby's bill is going to begin with a series of letter U shapes here. It's going to look like when you drew like water and you're in school when you should have been paying attention, but you weren't. But these lines are going to come out, and they're going to come just to close to the outside of our circle, but not quite. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and make the rest of her upper bill. To begin with, we're going to make one line coming down the side over here, and then we're going to take this straight across just underneath that left-hand arch. Now the last part for Webby's upper bill we're going to do is bring this up the side, kind of like a curved line coming up, but we're not going to touch that first line we made. Because now, we're going to go ahead and make her lower bill. Now her lower bill is going to start off with a U shape. Now it's going to come almost down to the bottom of our circle here. And from this U shape, we're going to bring this line back up this way, and we're going to go ahead and lightly cut that line over here. Now that we have that in place, we're going to go back and we're going to go ahead and start to lock in our favorite lines. You'll see when I say locking in, we're going to really find the lines we want to keep, press down a little harder on our pencil, and really build up those lines. This will make these lines very distinct, very easy to follow later, and it will begin to make our construction lines fade into the background, because our eyes will naturally want to focus on these darker lines. Now, Webby was introduced in the original DuckTales, and when she was introduced, she was supposed to be a combination of Daisy's three nieces, April, May, and June, but they made her not related to Daisy in DuckTales. Now, later on, we actually find out that she's the foster granddaughter of Mrs. Beakley, Scrooge's housekeeper. Now, the next step for Webby is we're going to go ahead and build up the rest of her head. She's got kind of like a little bit of a Funko Pop shaped head, so we're going to take some lines from the outside of our circle, lightly bring these down, and we're going to follow another curve underneath our original circle here, following the same curve as we made. Now this line here, we can actually go ahead and lock in as well. Be a little lighter on the left, as we're going to lock in most of the bottom. You'll see why here for a while. But we're going to go ahead and also make her neck, which is just going to be a pair of lines right here, coming down from that center point, tilting in a little ways, but nothing too drastic. Now for the next step, and probably the most important part for Webby here, so she can see where she's going, is we have to give her eyes. Now her eyes are very, very large ovals. They're going to take up the majority of space here in our circle. Now they're going to be up above her cheek obliquely, and these ovals are going to lightly tilt out to either side right now. Now once you have your favorite lines in place, we're going to go back in and we're going to go ahead and start to lock in the outside of these shapes here. Now, has anyone watched the original DuckTales?
Woo woo.
All right, let me test this one different way. DuckTales.
Woo.
There we go. Excellent. Now, yeah, this is when we first started to meet Webby. Now, surprisingly, Webby is one of the most popular characters in comic books. She and the boys have actually appeared in a numerous different number of comics. But who would like to know who the most popular non-superhero comic book character is?
Donald.
I'll give you a guess.
Donald.
He might be one of the uncles to the nephews.
Donald.
Not Scrooge, actually.
Donald.
Donald is, in fact, the most popular non-superhero comic book character, and has had the most appearances. So now that we have Webby looking like she just got off the Haunted Mansion, we're going to go ahead and wake up the character. Now, Webby has eyes. They are pie eye pupils. These are going to be a set of ovals here on either side. I'm going to have her just looking out at all of us, but if you want to have fun with these, you are welcome to. Before we lock these in, though, she actually has a pie eye slice that cuts through her pupil. Now, to do this slice, what you're going to do is just take a pair of lines, take a little slice out of each one. Once you have this slice in place, I know it looks weird right now, but we will say just trust the process. Go ahead and lock in the outer part of your circle here. And now we're going to shade these in. And you want to make the eyes the darkest point of your drawing. This helps direct everyone's attention to the character's face. And in doing so, it's where we show a lot of their emotion and how they're feeling, even if they're not necessarily saying it. And from here, we're going to just go ahead and lightly build up her eye line. She has one of these eye lines here that we use in animation to really tell the difference between characters' upper and lower lid. It makes them look a little bit more natural, and it also helps to keep track of their eyes when they're blinking. Especially in 3D animation. If you've ever seen characters without an eyeline blink, it's a little disturbing. But she does have a little bit of a wingtip at the end of each one, and this is going to be a little sharp fin shape coming to either side. Bless you. I hope you're not allergic to ducks. You're going to have a very rough day today. Now that we have those wings in place, though, I'm going to do a quick check-in with everybody. How are we all feeling about our drawing?
Excellent.
Let me ask a different question. Are we having fun?
Woo!
That is the most important part about artwork. You always want to make sure you're having a good time. Now, fun fact about Webby that I just found this out today is, okay, so spoiler alert, but it's been out for a few years now, so I don't feel that bad. We actually find out in the newest DuckTales, Webby is a clone of Scrooge. And she was made a clone by Fowl to find, I believe it's called the Parchment of Binding. I haven't finished watching the newest DuckTales, so even though it's a spoiler, I can't wait to see how this turns out. But that's also when they reintroduced the three triplets I mentioned earlier, April, May, and June. We find out that Webby's name is April, and you find May and June later on in that one. So in a way, they still managed to bring back those three characters. Hopefully everyone's looking up right now. You guys ready to keep going? All right, let's keep going then. So we're going to start to work on Webby's hair now. It's going to take up a good portion of the rest of her upper silhouette. We're going to make this curved letter U line that's kind of tilting up a little bit more to the right. Keep this pretty light for right now, because now we need to make the rest of her hair shape. So this is going to be a large curved rainbow that's going to go all the way up and around, following the same curve as the outer part of our circle here. And again, keep this light. You'll see why in just a moment. When we get to the bottom here, we're going to make a little bit of a J curve, tilting in this way, and you're going to connect this to that first circle here. Then bring this line back up to the side. If you've got darkened in the jawline a little bit too much, that's okay. We have a way to fix that later. Now over here on this side, we're going to make another J curve, and this is going to be tilting up to the outside, and then bring this back in with another curved line on the outer. Now we are going to show her to have a little bit of separation with her hair. So from here, make a little bit of a shark fin shape, and we're going to lock in the outer portion of this section here. And from here, we can go back in and start to lock in at least the outside part of her hair. And you can lock in the right side of her face as well. Now I did mention that we wanted to keep her hair pretty light right now because like every good duck, she has an accessory. Now does anyone remember what her accessory is?
The bow.
Yeah, she's got a little hair bow. Now her hair bow is going to be over here on the side. Right at the top of her hair from here, we're going to make this large oval shape, about the same size as her pupils. And then we're going to go ahead and make the bow itself. Now the bow's actually got a lot of sharp angles to it. It's going to look a little bit like a TIE fighter if you're a Star Wars fan. The lines are going to come right down this way, right past that hair point that we made for her bangs. And then we're going to make a ribbon at the bottom, which will look a lot like Donald's ribbon that he has for his hat. So it's going to be two lines coming down, and it will be connected with a V line, with a triangle or an upside down letter V. Now once you have this in place, go ahead and lock these lines in and really define these well. That way, if you have any lines from behind, they're going to just fade into the background. But with this in place, we're now free to lock into the rest of her hair. But just to give her a little bit more texture for her hair itself here on this side, when you lock this in, you're going to add a few more of those sharp fin shapes just to show the breaks in her hair. And when we get to this curve at the bottom, you're going to add in just one more line just to show that hair kind of separating here at the base. So this curved line coming up through here. And finally, just add a few curved lines this way for the front of her hair as well. And the final part for her that you're going to want to emphasize is going to be her eyebrows, which are going to be these curved lines that do show through her hairline. So keep that in mind too if your hairline goes a bit further down. Now the final part for Webby's drawing that we want to do is we want to show that little shirt that she wears. She has a little bit of like a polo or a button. To make this shirt, all we're going to do is, from her neck, we're going to make just a series of letter V's. Start off by making just two lines coming out to either side, and two more coming right over here. It's going to look like she's got like an arrow pointing down. Then bring these back up this way and down back to the middle. Now from here, if you want to do any extra credit, you are welcome to do so. For me, I'm just going to go ahead and shade in her bow, just give a little bit more contrast. But if you want to add in Uncle Scrooge in the back, you're welcome to do so. Maybe add in the boys as well. Totally up to you. This is your drawing. You can have fun with it. Maybe you want to add in her the other two triplets. Totally can. But from this point, you're going to go and find a favorite spot on your page, and you're going to sign your name.